So here we go. TLDR from yesterday on the FOMC coming up. Plus we've got some updates from Woo, Luna, Matic, Spell, and also an upcoming trending narrative that will be music NFTs. Let's have a look at the cookie crumbs. If you enjoy the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Check out the pinned comment down below to support me further. Jump right in here with the FOMC summary. So this posted by Invest Answers, James. Excellent little recap here. Essentially, if you didn't have time to watch the full few hours of proceedings that went on yesterday, I sat through it all. This is pretty much the outline of what occurred. So first and foremost, as we know, the Fed have been completing asset purchases. This is their quantitative easing to the tune of tens of billions of dollars per month. So they're going to be phasing this out slowly, and this will be on a taper basis. So this means that there will be no tapering this month, but from January, February, and March, they will decrease the amount of buybacks that they're completing, and that therefore ends in March of 2022. So a big reduction here over the next quarter, and this tapering means that they are 2 meetings away from completion. The FOMC meets 8 times per year. So we'll have more regular updates on this, and there are a few things to be aware of here as well, because for example, we have the Omicron virus doing the rounds across the world right now, but it hasn't really hit and touched down majorly in the US as of yet. So on the horizon, if there are potential risks from that, if unemployment starts to go up again due to shutdowns, lockdowns, that kind of thing in the US, then I think all bets are off and we may see some further changes to this. But this is the structure as of now, and Jerome Powell seemed fairly confident that this will filter through. So there will be some continued accommodative financial conditions. Not exactly sure what is occurring with those, but it sounds like they are ready to support businesses and individuals as required. The interest rates for now are remaining at near zero. They're between 0 and 0.25%, and there will be no rate increase until the taper has ended. So at least until I would say April onwards of 2022, we won't see any interest rate rises. That will of course reduce the amount of disposable income that individuals and businesses have on hand, and thus could be negative for the financial markets. And as we've seen with this kind of hawkish sentiment that came out during the last month from Jerome, both the stock market, the equities, and of course here in crypto land, things started to go down quite substantially. So this is kind of their approach. They let the market know what's coming up in the future so we can adjust, take it all in, and react as appropriately. Clearly the implications of this take months and months to actually filter into the markets, but the markets react instantaneously on this new information. So big growth forecasts still in the US. He seemed very bullish on the economy at general, and also they're rapidly moving towards maximum employment, a level they suggest around 4% of unemployment. So as it stands, we know where we are. We know that the asset repurchases will end by March 2022, and we're expecting 3 increases to the interest rates from the mid to late stages of next year. So that's kind of the pinch that we're in. And how do the markets react? Well, we can see from here, this was essentially where the actual meeting took place, and we had those first statements released. We were down to 46,500, pumped up to 49,000 and around $400. Almost a $3,000 move in a couple of hours there, which is pretty impressive stuff. Essentially, we took back all of the losses from the 13th, 14th, and 15th pretty swiftly there, and then this is acting as a resistance level now. And as we will look at some other charts in today's video, you'll notice that this kind of resistance here is mapped out on other charts as well for other assets, and I think we need Bitcoin to break through this kind of key resistance here for the rest of the market to really kick onwards and upwards. But you can see people who are sat on the sidelines right now are ready to step back in. We're seeing quite a bit of bid across the market in general, and again on Bitfinex, you can tell the whales with the strong bags, the strong hands, and the ones who are making all the money in this market. On the left-hand side, we have Coinbase Retail selling off. And then on the right-hand side, we have Bitfinex whales buying in during the few hours prior to the FOMC meeting. So Ninja posted this: Coinbase risking off heading into the FOMC, Bitfinex risking on, crypto degens versus the boomers in full effect. So pretty much good idea to look at the order flows going on over on Bitfinex going forward, just to stay up to date with what the Giga whales are doing. Crypto market in general, healthier today than it was yesterday. Quite a lot of bounces back to the upside here. If we go over the last 24 hours, you can see some big winners: XDC, Arweave, Stacks, Helium, Cadena, all putting in some monstrous moves here. Cadena just pumped like crazy in the last couple of minutes here. Avalanche well above $100 again. Phantom up to $1.54. So first altcoin update here is from Woo Network, this from CMO Ben. Just to let you know, I've got really high expectations for what a fully operational WooFi running on multiple blockchain networks is going to do to this space. Tweet thread here, this is WooFi. Essentially, this is a decentralized exchange currently on BSC, but they're going to have it on other networks as well. And this is a DEX that allows you to just quickly compare the different prices across different networks. And so you can actually tap into the best liquidity here. So for example, one BNB gets us $543 on PancakeSwap. So this is the best one to use right now. Whereas we have WooFi coming in second here, $542, MDEX, Bakery Swap, so on and so forth. This is a good area to come route your orders through to get the best possible prices. So what's going on here? Well, WooFi, this DEX, is having its own staking functionality go live today, the 16th of December. This is a key milestone of native on-chain utility and the foundation for long-term non-inflationary value capture of the Woo token. So this staking about to go live. I'll show you the staking portal as well, just over here. There is a 7-day unstaking period, so do be aware of that. But this allows you to get some of the fees from the trades taking place over here. So we've witnessed growth on WooFi Swap. A total of 14 million has processed since the alpha launch, with just around 700k in TVL amongst just 5 assets. In the upcoming updates to WooFi Swap, the fee will be decreased to 0.025%, the lowest across all DEXs. So they're going for a real competitive edge here and making this the cheapest for fees. And they're now introducing XWoo. So this is the staking derivative. Once you deploy your Woo into the staking contract, so from this, you stake your Woo, you get XWoo in return, which represents your share of the staking pool. And with a new swap fee, 0.02% of each transaction used to buy back Woo daily and reward to the staking pool. So that is your buyback and distribution method. And then the remaining 0.005% is used for future incentivization programs. So as I mentioned, 7-day unstaking period. If you want to unstake from that, if you want to do it instantaneously at any moment, there is a 5% penalty for being an ape. And this is currently live on the BSC network only, but plans for more in the future. And you can use any swap, which is now rebranded to multi-chain, I believe. Or if you've got your Woo on the WooX exchange, you can actually withdraw directly to your BSC wallet and stake them on there. So that is the staking portal that you would need to use, and that is going live today. Probably worth keeping a track on this to see what kind of numbers are getting involved with this and the kind of APR that you can expect. The staking rewards could be higher than staking on the exchange directly. So here is the Woo Network token, 77 cents. Currently, it's had a huge pullback from its highs. It's down 50% from its high, which was just on the 15th of November. So after 1 month, coming down 50% 57% to be exact, which is crazy stuff. But we see this in the crypto industry all the time. Things go off like a rocket, and then you get a typical 50% pullback thereafter. A real trader's game if you are into that kind of stuff. Next up, we have Luna. I wanted to show this chart. This is one of the most bullish charts in crypto right now. Hardly had much of a pullback from its highs, whilst the rest of the market was selling off. We are still just 16% away from all-time high, and in general, you will struggle to find a more bullish chart than this one. From the lows yesterday, you could tell that this really wanted to bounce back and bounce back hard. So this was the bottom for Bitcoin prior to the FOMC meeting, and we're already up around 20% from there, $54 all the way up to $65. I would not be surprised to see this one challenge those all-time highs very soon. And as I mentioned, if Bitcoin can break out from this kind of region here at around 49,500, if we can start to push towards the 50K region here, I think many of these tokens really start to rock and roll once again. And Luna, of course, has fantastic tokenomics. So it's actually advantageous when the price is lower as we get more Luna burned as UST is minted. And as we've seen, the minting continues going on. Next up, Matic, again, super bullish. Been mentioning this one for pretty much the past week now. And this one was putting in some lows in the 180 region. I did pick some more up, and now it's up to $2.17 already. This is the kind of overhanging resistance level here at around $2.17 where it sits right now. We've had a few spikes just up above. And as I say, if Bitcoin can break out from the current range, Matic is one that really wants to push a lot higher. And I think it can take out its all-time highs pretty soon. They just have the best mix of technicals in terms of this breakout that looks imminent, plus the fundamentals are super strong. You've got Coinbase utilizing their NFT marketplace through Polygon Matic. You've also got a deployment of Uniswap coming to Polygon Network, and you can see all the investments they're currently making, plus EIP 1559 Matic token burn coming up as well. And then on the spell chart here, this one put in a bottom sub 1 cent, and then 1 cent was the region that many people were suggesting we need to hold this region. And we did manage to do it. It looked like it was going to be a support resistance flip, which is very bearish, but it did break through. And now that resistance has been claimed once again as an area of support. So it has bounced nicely off 1 cent over the last couple of days, up around 40% from those lows. But I wanted to pull this chart up just to show one thing, which is during the whole of this sell-off, most things started to sell off from late November through to early December. But if we just look at the general volume in the market during this period, even though, for example, we can see Spell here sold off significantly from roughly up here to down here, something like a 70% retrace. If you just look at the volume profile, and you can go through many different altcoins to check this out, it just seems like the liquidity dried up. So we have a load of huge market makers in the industry, Jump Trading, Alameda, etc. And I think if these guys go risk off at any moment, the liquidity literally shrinks to pretty much nothing. So the sell-off, a huge 70% retrace, but no giga red candles. It's not like someone was just consistently dumping. But it didn't take a lot for the market to move down. You were getting like 10% down moves on very low volume. So this shows you how the market makers and liquidity in this industry are super important for prices, both to the upside and to the downside. And so right now, and over the last few days, it was kind of not too concerning with the sell-off due to the fact we weren't seeing everyone just pack up and leave. We weren't seeing huge rows of skyscraper red candles. And I do think as we've had a kind of bullish, or at least some certainty from the FOMC meeting there, markets hate uncertainty. So having some certainty is bullish in general, even though the outcome is probably as most people expected. Well, we should see the liquidity come back to the market here and start to put in some consistent floors. So that's what I'm looking at over the next couple of weeks up to the end of the year. If we can get some volume coming back in nicely, start to see more liquidity on the order books, you know that the big players are back here, and we have a nice setup going forward into Q1 of 2022. Then I also wanted to finish up with this. So music NFTs are going to be another trending narrative at some point during 2022. Clearly an industry ripe for disruption due to the fact the actual artists make bugger all from their music proceeds. Management, record labels absolutely rinse them. And so NFTs are a way for these guys to actually make a substantial living. So follow the smart money. A16Z, if you followed them into the gaming metaverse plays at the back end of summer, when they started to invest millions of dollars, you would have been pretty well off right now. So again, let's not miss a trick here. A16 have led a round into sound.xyz here. So not necessarily looking to ape into the Sound token when it does come out, but you can see that they are starting to put their money into this sector of the market, music NFTs. This is also backed by rapper 21 Savage and a few producers, including crypto influencer Cooper Trooper, the guy who was on Elio's channel just last week talking about music NFTs as an upcoming narrative. So following the cookie crumbs here, you can see what is going to occur. So a little bit of context here. This is some of their market analysis here. So A16Z have invested into the sound.xyz startup here, 5 million raised in total. And this was suggested that only 7,800 artists make over 100K a year on Spotify, which is crazy to think about, as you've got some huge artists out there who get millions of plays, but they're still getting 100K, maybe a little bit more. Obviously, there'll be some outliers making millions, but for general artists who maybe have a small fan base of like a few 100,000 listeners per month, they're not making that much money, which doesn't seem that fair when Spotify is probably raking in billions of dollars. So David Greenstein from sound.xyz said this: the number of 50,000 or more per year musicians is only 13,400. So this is before you pay your label and before you pay any bandmates or producers. So the idea here is to target those with low to mid-sized followings who could potentially use non-fungible tokens to supplement streaming revenue. Greenstein says if we build for the artists who are making a lot of money on Spotify, it's 7,500 individuals. If we go for the artists that aren't making substantial careers, we're dealing with the other 99.9%. This makes a lot of sense. I'm sure most of us know musicians who have really been trying to go for it full time and have really struggled, which is very disappointing and also just limits the amount of new music that comes out. If people aren't able to make a living from creating new content, then we just get stuck with the same old crappy radio play. So this is clearly an industry that needs to be disrupted for the greater good. So how will this work? Well, sound.xyz will offer limited supply of NFTs to go with new music releases. These are essentially souvenirs, but they also let you leave a comment at a certain moment in a given song. It's similar to the comment functionality on SoundCloud, where an NFT is traded, a new owner can then overwrite the token's original comment. So maybe you could shout your own Twitter handle out, and then if this artist does extremely well, you could get a load of Twitter followers just from that. And all this music will then be stored on the Ethereum blockchain through decentralized storage provider IPFS, and the NFT contracts are branded with the artist names as opposed to the companies. So more rights for the music producer, a way that you can support the artist, and they can monetize further to continue producing what they want to produce. So this is certainly a new budding sector of the market that is starting to attract serious financial commitment from big money players. So take note, and we will follow up on this in the future. I've got the sound.xyz notifications now turned on. And one final thing, if you can actually help me out here, we've got a scammer impersonating me on Twitter. This one has CryptoTubeYT, but with double R, so a spelling mistake in there, typical of many scammers out here now. He's just pretty much cloned my account. He's got more followers than me. If you could report this one, that'll be very helpful, as he is reaching out trying to scam people, unfortunately. So if you've got 2 minutes spare and you can just report this account, CRR in CryptoTubeYT over there on the Twitter handle. So there we have it, a roundup of what has occurred over the last 24 hours. Post FOMC meeting, we're starting to see altcoins slowly break out. I wouldn't hold my breath that we're going to see an immediate altcoin season, but positive signs nonetheless, and money flowing back into this industry. Covered a few topics here, including an upcoming sector of the market, music NFTs. Definitely one to watch. As ever, thanks for your support. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.